Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Melissa, you want to start us off?
You start flat?
Flag, yep.
Sure thing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right. I don't have much of an update. I did want to bring to everybody's attention, if they weren't aware, that our past cafeteria director did pass in June. We didn't have our normal July meeting, but I didn't mention it during our budget workshop because I didn't want that to be overshadowed by the budget work. So I just wanted to express my sympathies to Mrs. Duran's family. And that's all I have as a chair update. It's a short one. All right. Oh, yes. Just a friendly reminder, our budget vote, the referendum is August 19th from 12 to 8 in all your local polling places. Please come out. You have to vote. You have to vote. Yep, everybody. Drag the husband in off the tractor or the lawnmower, grab your grandmother, grandfather, if they're registered to vote, get it done.
In Thompson.
Absentee ballots, you have time.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're not registered, please do so. All right. Citizens' comments. I don't have any citizens in the room. Any citizens on Zoom? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. All right. Approval of minutes. I'm going to go through these one by one because they are 3 separate types of meetings. So we'll start with the June 8th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Melissa's going to abstain. And any opposition? None. So minutes passed. Budget workshop, July 15th, 2026. Do we have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say that they spelled my name wrong.
Which part of the?
All of it.
Okay. So
Oh, my name of Kristen.
Okay. All right. Kristen spelled incorrectly, and then on the under FY27 budget reduction approval, the motion by Kristen Schultz, seconded by Matt Polsky, to approve the following budget reductions. These are the ones that we provided. The high school other objects, 30,000, was not for manufacturing and welding. I believe that should be stated as NEASC.
I didn't look at those
Nope,
minutes either.
that's okay. So I just wanted to have that noted and adjusted. So with those corrections, everybody, any further discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor with the corrections?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Abstentions? Melissa's going to abstain. Those will be approved. And then moving on to Monday, July 20th, our special meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those, any discussion?
My name is spelled wrong again.
Okay.
Oh, no.
It happens.
I, not E.
Correct.
Yep. All right. Any other discussion on the meeting minutes? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions?
I will.
Danielle's going to abstain. Those motions approved. I would like to make a motion to add under, I don't know, can we call it? For the finance director's report.
Oh, you can probably put that under old business.
Okay, all right. since Mr. Steglitz is here and I forgot to have it included on the agenda, if I can have a motion to add finance director.
I'll make a motion to add finance director under old business as
And could you also add the facilities director?
and the business,
In B.
I'm sorry, the facilities and the bills.
Yeah.
Finance director
Great.
reports.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Matt will
that.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition, that passes. Would like to also add, have a motion under new business D to add in the,
Meal increase.
a paid lunch increase for school year 26-27.
I would like to motion that we add under new business, section D for paid lunch increases.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? All right, that passes. Thank you. All right, moving on. Superintendent report.
So under my report, Chairman Bolte, we have sent out the results, kind of a bird's eye district view of the panorama survey that was given in the spring. I will say that participation of that survey, especially from families, was low this year. I think it has two variables that impacted that particular survey. One, the timing of the school year. Folks are extremely busy in April, but we pushed it forward because of the controversy around the student survey that was given out in January. And I think that also might have had an impact on why people didn't open it up and actually respond to it. But for the information that we did get and comparing it to last year's data, Kate Strom is here from Panorama. She's going to do a Zoom. She knows it's going to be a brief overview. You've had a copy of that. Know that the principals have their very specific data that they are working on this summer with their teams to address all those areas of concern that can make overall school culture and climate improve. So, Kate, if we can turn it over to you. Everyone's familiar with the document that you sent, but for the community, they would like our overview.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. And I'm really excited to be with you all tonight. I'm excited to share what Superintendent Smith just kind of highlighted for us, but really to kind of highlight what we learned from student, educator, and family voices this spring. So we're going to look at both strengths we see as well as opportunities and some things that we've identified as areas of growth. We're going to focus on the larger patterns tonight rather than walking through every single data point. You have a lot of data across 3 different stakeholder groups, and there are many different hidden slides within this deck that I'm not going to highlight tonight for everyone, but you all as the Board of Education can kind of go deeper into those various data points if you so choose. But I really hope that everyone will leave with a clear sense of what we're hearing across the district and where there may be opportunities to build on what's already working. So just without further ado, I'm Kate. I'm calling in from just west of Boston, Massachusetts, and I am a social worker, and I've been consulting with Panorama for the past 6 years almost, because I truly believe in its mission to radically improve education for every student. And I believe we can do that through systems change. And one of those systems change mechanisms is to look at student voice, family voice, educator voice. And what we're going to hear tonight is that this is the systems aspect is really what all of your stakeholder groups are looking to influence here. So we looked at 3 stakeholder groups, as I said. The students were at nearly 70% response rate, which is a great response rate. We want anything above 2/3. So we were really happy with that across the board. We can see high school is not quite there. So we would love to see that improved next year in terms of just student voice engagement. Staff declined some from last year as well, so we'd love to see that come back up next year. And then, as Superintendent Smith said, we also noticed that the families, the response rate declined dramatically as well. So the big picture story here is that you can be very proud of students' strong relationships with teachers, their high academic expectations, staff collaboration and their sense of belonging, and continued learning recovery. There were some priorities that all stakeholders wanted addressed, such as school climate and student behavior, communication, student engagement, sense of belonging, and academic support. But the key takeaway is that across students, staff, and families, the same priorities emerged, giving us confidence about where improvement efforts should focus. So while the response rates could be improved, there was consistency across all stakeholder groups, which gives us a lot of confidence in the data. So I'm going to go through some key takeaways from from every stakeholder group. You have quantitative data where students, families, and educators took a survey with multiple choice answers, but you also gave free response questions where all respondents were asked to give their open-ended responses where they could type those in. So we have both that quantitative and the qualitative data. And I also want to just say that the two combined across all stakeholder groups really show a very consistent picture. So we can be very confident in the data as well. So we're going to start with student voice data and start with the elementary. And the elementary data paints a positive picture overall, particularly around academic expectations and relationships with teachers. One of the clearest strengths is a rigorous expectation. This is an 80th percentile, both nationally and favorably within students. And students reporting that teachers encourage them to do their best and hold high expectations. Teacher-student relationships are also strong at 76%, with particularly high ratings for teachers treating students with respect. Safety is another relative strength. The school ranks around 70th percentile nationally, and students report feeling particularly safe from physical fights and online bullying. The areas that stand out as opportunities are engagement and aspects of school climate. School engagement is only 30% favorable, suggesting that students aren't necessarily carrying their learning beyond the classroom or feeling deeply connected to what they're learning. Within school climate, we see concerns around rule following and cleanliness, and student behavior is also a concern, with only 35% favorable on respectful behavior. So the elementary story is not primarily an academic one. The academic foundation appears strong. The opportunity is to build on those strong teacher relationships and expectations by creating a school environment where students are more engaged, respectful, and connected to their learning and one another. Across the free response questions, students consistently described a school experience built around caring relationships while asking for stronger peer culture and improvements to everyday student experiences. Students value the most supportive teachers, opportunities for fun, creativity, and connection. And many students described a positive school culture rooted in kindness, respect, and recognition. Students wanted improvements around kind of the daily student experience, maybe more or better recess, cleaner, better maintained facilities, better lunch quality and cafeteria experience. And there was also some indications of wanting some stronger instructional engagement with more positive interactions with adults. One of the things that really came out is relationships were a recurring priority. Across multiple questions, students emphasized those relationships. And their biggest concerns really were around bullying, peer relationships, academic performance, kind of all of the things that you would expect elementary school students to be concerned with. Moving on to middle school, when we look specifically at middle school quantitative data, there's a pretty clear pattern. There are some pretty important foundations here. Students report relatively strong readiness for learning at 75%, and there are also relatively solid perceptions around safety at 60% and rigorous expectations at 61%. So this isn't a picture of students who don't want to learn or who don't feel that school has academic expectations. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Where things become concerning is around the experience of school itself. School climate is only 35% favorable, belonging is 47% favorable, and valuing of school is 45%. The most striking number, though, is that school engagement is just at 7% favorable. That's a really significant signal that students may be showing up and doing the work without feeling particularly connected to or engaged in their learning experience. We also see some concerns in relationships that support surrounding that learning. So teacher-student relationships are at 50% and learning recovery is at 51%. So while students generally see that there are expectations for them, the data suggests that the support, connection, and engagement needed to make those expectations aren't as strong. And that's really important because it gives us a different picture than simply saying middle school students are struggling academically. The data suggests something a little bit more nuanced. Students have the capacity and expectations to learn, but their connection to school, their sense of climate and belonging, and their engagement in learning are much weaker. So the middle school responses tell a noticeably different story than the elementary school responses. Students are still very appreciative of their teachers, but there is a stronger emphasis on academic pressure, fairness, and the overall learning environment. Rather than focusing on recess and friendships, they're thinking more about workload, school climate, and how school functions. So students really value their teachers and those relationships. They remain the school's greatest strength. They also highlighted opportunities that make school engaging, like clubs, sports, field trips, assemblies, outdoor activities, and student voice. So this survey particularly. Many appreciated efforts to promote school safety, PBIS, and positive behavior supports. But they wanted improvements to the physical and learning environment, like cleaner facilities, better lunch, more comfortable classrooms. And they also expressed some concerns about teacher availability, fairness, homework load, and classroom management. From the high school, we see a different combination of strengths and opportunities. School climate is actually a relative strength. It ranks around 70th percentile for the national comparisons, with 57% favorable, and students report a generally positive mood at school. Physical safety is also strong, with 88% reporting infrequent physical fights and 76% reporting low worry about violence. But underneath that relatively positive overall climate score, there are some important concerns. Student-to-student respect is only 20% favorable, which is the lowest individual measure on the survey. And while students report that teachers generally respect them, only 33% feel that teachers are concerned when they're upset. So there appears to be a distinction between being treated respectfully and feeling emotionally supported. The other major opportunity is engagement and academic challenge. School engagement is only 23% favorable, and rigorous expectation is around 30th in the national percentile. So the high school story is really about moving from a school that feels physically safe and generally positive toward one that is more intellectually engaging and relationally supportive. The high school responses show another developmental shift. Compared with middle school students, high school students are less focused on peer relationships and more focused on preparing for life after graduation, having flexibility in their learning experience and ensuring the school environment supports their success. Students value their teachers. They also value flexible and engaging learning opportunities, and many appreciated academic support systems and opportunities to explore interests beyond traditional coursework. Students want the improvements in the physical school environment and daily student experience. Again, better lunch, more reliable technology, clearer phone and device policies, cleaner facilities, improved classroom comfort. So across all three grade spans, an interesting progression emerges that I'd love to share with you all. And that's when elementary school students are really saying, help us feel safe, have fun, and be kind. Middle school students are saying, help us learn in a supportive, engaging, and fair environment. And high school students are saying, help us prepare our future while creating a school environment that supports our success and well-being. So moving on to educators, the teacher data shows a little bit of a split. There's some really solid foundations here, There are also several areas where staff are telling us that the systems around them aren't working as well as they need to. The biggest concern is student behavior. This is the largest decline in the survey, dropping 17 points to 52% favorable. And within that, there were especially sharp declines in teachers' perceptions of consistent rule enforcement, input into behavioral policy, and input into behavioral policy. So this isn't just about student behavior, it's also about teachers signaling concerns about the consistency of the systems and processes for responding to it. Because we have limited time, I'm going to kind of continue on a little bit faster. But one of the things that I noticed across the board here with the teacher survey was that rather than seeing one building outperform another across the board, each school has a distinct profile. And the district demonstrates consistently strong teacher belonging, collaboration, and efficacy, while the greatest opportunities appear in evaluation, resources, faculty growth, and aspects of leadership. Building specific patterns suggest improvement efforts should be tailored rather than standardized across schools. So teachers describe a workplace that is highly collaborative and relationship driven, but where they're feeling stretched by workload, limited planning time, inconsistent communication, and student behavior challenges. Their responses paint a picture of people who enjoy working with one another and with students, but who believe organizational systems could better support both teaching and learning. The strongest positive theme is it's not salary or benefits, it's people. So the biggest thing that I really want to take away here, though, is that there is a major overlap between student and teacher responses here. Teachers describe wanting consistent rule enforcement, meaningful consequences, clear communication, and more consistent school-wide expectations. So even though they're not asking for more harsher discipline, they're just asking for more consistency. And I think that the students painted a very similar picture. For families, the biggest takeaway is that this is a relatively small but diverse sample. Okay, so while it is a much smaller sample than previous surveys, it is still a very diverse sample and has strong representation from elementary, middle, and high school, from elementary and middle school, and not as much from high school. So the responses should be interpreted as representative of those who participate rather than the entire district. So the family data is a little bit different from the student and staff data, in part because we had a much smaller response, but there's some encouraging signs. Families report relatively strong learning recovery, family efficacy, and family support. And at the same time, there are some areas where family confidence has declined. Learning behavior, readiness for learning, and school fit. The other number I would pay attention to is family engagement. It's only 21% favorable. That's not necessarily saying families don't want to be engaged. It's telling us that the current experience of engaging with the school may not be working particularly well. And that's where the open-ended comments become really useful. When families were asked directly what would improve their experience, communication came through very strongly. Families want communication to be more proactive, timely, consistent, and easier to navigate. So I do see a few patterns, though I'd be careful not to overinterpret them because of the very small sample, especially for high school. But there are some differences amongst the school in terms of who responded. But families value the dedication of Thompson's educators. That's a very strong, consistent message across all three stakeholder groups, but want stronger communication, a more connected and inclusive school community, consistent support for students, and a school climate where every child feels known, respected, and challenged to succeed. So the encouraging news, these priorities are remarkably aligned across all three stakeholder groups, providing a clear roadmap for continuous improvement. So it kind of actually surprised me that the three stakeholder groups told remarkably similar stories. Relationships are the district's greatest strength. School climate, not academics, is the biggest opportunity, and most concerns are about systems, communication, consistency, behavior, not about people. That is it. Any questions?
Kristen?
I had a question. On a lot of the slides, it said like elementary school grades 3 to 5, or is that just because our school isn't actually grades 3 to, you know what I mean?
We only surveyed those kids.
Right, but so you're including the 5th grade in the elementary
data.
survey, which would.
No. So great question. Great question. So I'll just briefly show you here. So when you come to the survey results here, I filtered specifically for the school. Okay. So we're looking at the elementary school, which I recognize does not have the 5th graders in it. However, the way that the survey is written is it's written for grades 3 through 5, and then it's written for grades 6 through 12. So the middle school has a little bit of a interesting situation because their children actually take 2 different surveys. The 5th graders take one survey, and the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders take a different survey. And it's virtually the same survey. It's just the language is a little bit different to adjust for literacy levels.
Okay, I understand. I just wanted to make sure we weren't using data from a different school to.
Correct.
Or-
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
was filtered specifically for the elementary. Yeah.
Any other questions? Matt?
Not so much a question, but a comment. I'd like to see more. I'm disappointed that there's a perception that we don't communicate. I think maybe perhaps we communicate a little too much where it's can be overwhelming maybe, but I would like to hear some actual feedback from actual parents saying this is what we would like to hear, and that way we can tailor it to something where they will be engaged. If they feel overwhelmed, then it's too much. Okay, if they're not getting enough, then I don't see how that's possible. But I don't mean to disparage that result, but if you're not getting it, then the messages, then
Or are they just ignoring it?
I don't know. But if you're ignoring it, then you shouldn't be responding that you don't have enough engagement.
Right.
But also, the behavioral issues, as much as we want to fix things and take care of everything in the school, if it's behavioral, it's a lot of, I'm not blaming parents, but a lot of that's got to come from the home.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Or at least work collaboratively with the school to address, a plan that we put in play that we both can work on together, school and home.
Right.
And it's a partnership.
And the other thing I noticed, especially in the elementary one, was they're not talking about school. Yeah. Oh, how was school today? That's what I read from that first part of that survey from the elementary. Like, how was school today? If you're not getting that at home, that was painful to see.
Right. I mean, Justin's not here tonight, but I remember him saying at several meetings before that parents are inundated with mail, emails,
Yeah.
and telephone calls, and well, how,
Especially if you have kids in more than one school.
correct.
I'd imagine if you're getting three blasts in one all at once, it's got to be very overwhelming.
Well, we are going to funnel everything through Power School this year, and that's part of the training for the teachers, and part of the message that they're not allowed to use those individual communication systems or apps or whatever that's making parents crazy. Heather's finally got that pretty well wrapped up, and she's going to be training the staff during the 2 PD days on how to use Power School.
Okay. Danielle?
So to piggyback, I would love some more information on the communication aspect. What are parents seeing? What are they not seeing? Why do they feel communication is a problem? But second, I just want to say, I love to see that it's not a teacher and staff issue, that the kids love coming to school to see their teachers, that the teachers love being here with their kids. And it's really heartbreaking right now in this budget season, and we're sitting here talking about what teacher may be cut, or what might we have to cut the next time referendum fails and we have to lose money. This is what our kids are telling us is important to them, and what they're showing is like the highlight of the survey really is that connection. And it's really sad to see like that we know we're gonna have to sit here and possibly talk about what might we cut again if this budget doesn't pass. So kudos to our staff, our teachers, our administrative, and everyone that works at the school, because this survey is showing what a great job we are doing here with what we have.
And I want to say it's sad that we had such a drop in, parent responses to this survey. It's,
We're gonna go back to the January timeframe.
you did say that.
Yep.
Kristen?
I did also want to comment on that. I noticed a lot of the responses with the things that staff, families, students are unhappy with are budget issues,
Mhm.
like the cleanliness of the school, and we just cut another custodian lunches, and we're like cutting staff, and we don't have equipment that works properly. And so I just think it shows you that they're related, so it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well,
So what's gonna happen from this point forward is the principals are working with the individual data points. I'll also have them watch this recording too that Kate put together, thank you so much. Then they'll come before you individually by month and go over their culture and climate plans. Chairman Bolte has requested that each principal come and do a presentation about their school so you can interact with them and ask questions. And I think, I don't know if I put that in my briefs as to what month everybody's coming, but part of that will be a presentation on their culture and climate.
okay, good, great, thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, comments?
Thank you,
Thank
Kate.
you, Kate.
Thank you,
very much.
Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Me too.
All right, enrollment report.
So I sent in my briefs the enrollment report. Quite frankly, it's a moving target. We're at 750 students district-wide, 328 students right now at the middle elementary school. We picked up some students withdrew. I want to bring your attention to those K numbers. 61 students, we have 3 classes, there'll be at least 20 to 21 students per class. Good news is a full-time para in each of those classes, and we have good literacy support. So I'm not anxious about that, but those numbers could go up a little bit. And then at the middle school, we're at 268, we're down from the June enrollment. And at the high school, we saw a bit of a drop, 8 students. We're at 152. We have students that are still finishing a 5th year at high school. That is a requirement. And then we have a couple of students in our transition program. So the total on-site in district is 750. Students outplaced as of July 31st was 21. However, I am sad to report that we have 3 new out-of-district placements that have enrolled, 1 at each level. So that just came in last week, and Dr. Jones is working with holding those PPTs and to see if any of our in-house programs would meet the needs of those students. But from 2 of them, we are feeling that we're not going to be able to meet their needs. But we'll hear more from him at the next meeting and understand that, but it figures, right? It never swings in the direction we want it to swing in. And that is the enrollment report as of last week, but the numbers keep moving.
Matt?
I know it is a moving target, but for 9th grade, is there a possibility that's going to go up as people
So right now,
contemplate upon things?
so we know that the students who have made a commitment to the BOAG, QMC, and Ellis, often 1 or 2 students do swing back over the summer, or when school starts, they decide they're not going to go to those schools. Very often, we might pick up a student or 2 after the first quarter.
Great, thank you. Oh, I'm just, the whole high school though is just down.
It is, well, the 11th and 12th grade classes were
Small.
extremely small.
Going through, they have been small. And so, Kim, I met with Mrs. Steglitz today, and what she's working on now is being able to offer some more electives. If we have classes that are running small, she won't run them. She's going to try to create some additional electives. for students, so she's busy working on that as we speak. She's hoping within the next week or two to get the schedules out to students before they actually arrive at school. So that's a work in progress right now. She returned to work today, but she did tell me that there might be an opportunity to offer some electives we haven't ran in a few years. So that's good news for students, but the numbers are low. They concern me, and I think moving forward, the board will have a discussion around that, and what we need to do to address those lower numbers. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's gonna eat us alive. The town's gonna come after us.
Well, I
It
think
is.
moving into next year, and this is too premature to talk about it, but moving into next year, I do have some ideas of what we could do, especially if we start to continue to see a decline in enrollment. And could there be some scheduling opportunities that we can look at? Right now, it's too premature to do that, but I think as we move through the school year, and we find out by October 1 what our real numbers are, then I think we have to make some discussion around scheduling and those kinds of things. It's going to happen because we have to make sure our kids have what they need to graduate, but and the right number of courses and electives, but then also how does it balance with the number of students? It just doesn't flow where we can just cut people, right? Because it'll cause a gap. That means we have to do a system change. So I'm going to start working on it like as of October 1. We'll know what our numbers are.
All right. Daniela?
And are we gonna work on retention from middle school up?
Well, we always do.
Right.
That's
Are we
it.
coming up with some new ideas, something?
I'm going to say this. We have done a lot, especially this past year. And so if students want to choose an alternate high school, it's because there's a passion there to go to that alternate high school. We give them many opportunities to explore the high school. Some of the suggestion might be some scheduling changes around aligning some certain grade levels with the high school. And if that happens, then maybe there's an opportunity for kids to become comfortable with the high school and will stay. We also have to be on top of our career pathways and make sure they're current and relevant for students that are staying here. So, yeah.
Frank?
Point of clarity, I guess. Does it make sense, the types of numbers, say 10, grade 10 have 32 in June? That one's up. But the 11 and 12, we have 35, now it's 30, 49 in June. Was that last year's?
Last year's graduating
Okay.
class.
Graduating class.
So then,
You can't really
what
look
do we,
at
yeah, what do
June.
we know about the grade 11 from last year that's not, 13 students not coming forward?
There's only one student that's not. So if you look
Okay,
at
so
June
35,
You have to go
36.
diagonal.
If you look
Okay.
at,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
look at June 30th and look at grade 10,
Yep.
there's 31 kids. Now look at grade
It's
11, there's 30. So we lost
Yep.
one student. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that student moved.
And then 35, 36,
Yeah.
30.
Yep.
Okay, thank
You
you.
gotta look at it the other way.
Just had
On
a
the angle.
bigger,
It's kind of on
well, I
the
was trying, I
diagonal.
was
Yeah.
looking at it incorrectly.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated. I'm also keeping the first selectman updated so he has accurate numbers when he's talking to the press and talking to citizens in town. And he appreciates having that up-to-date information.
But it is positive 8 to 9. Then. If everybody from this year's 8 jumps, then we jump back up 20 students.
Well, if you look at preschool
Coming.
and kindergarten,
Right.
kindergarten in particular is
Yep.
showing an upswing.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's where we're gonna start to see younger families moving in and enrollment
Right.
starts to go up there.
Right.
It's the aid to the high school, that's the one we've got to look at, it's the retention. And we thought the pathways were going to work with that, and it doesn't seem.
Well, the pathways gave us 100% of our graduates graduating with a plan. And so I feel really comfortable that everybody graduated with a plan. Whether it was the best of plans for their life, I don't know. Only time will tell.
Can't do
But
everything for them.
this is the first year I can confidently look at you and say, every single kid graduated and had a post-secondary plan. And that's really because we had the pathway coordinator.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is it's not helping our retention.
Definitely is not, but but kids are graduating with skills, so they're better prepared for the world, so.
It's a
I
plus,
think it's the
it's a
first
bonus.
step.
Well, I think also
It's
too,
not.
we also have to remember the Pathways program is still, I don't wanna say it's in its infancy, but we are still walking. We're not running with that fully yet because it's only been in its full, we only just added culinary for this past year.
This coming year.
This coming year.
Okay.
We've added welding 1, 2, and now 3, right? So we have those programs in place, and we can't just expect it to be and it's automatically going to be a change. It's a culture shift that has to happen from those kids coming in middle school to high and seeing that. And I think for some of these grade levels, we had a specific set. It didn't matter no matter what we did, they were not staying.
Right.
Well, I
Yeah.
understand that. Hopefully it helps.
Yeah.
The state is very committed to career pathways. I'm on a lot of committees right now. The governor's workforce board is heavily, Rick and I were at a CABE conference last Thursday, all about building up career pathways, because Connecticut is behind a lot of other states in doing that work. Miguel Cardona, who used to be the U.S. Secretary, is spearheading that work, and because of that, I joined a CAPS feedback committee. We have multiple meetings set up, but it's to provide him with some feedback as he's moving along to put structures in place. The drum I keep pounding on is that we are not all going to be able to sustain 13, 14 career pathways. Thompson has to specialize and offer whatever. Putnam needs to specialize, Killingly needs to specialize, and then students need to have the opportunity to take classes in any of those districts. And every meeting I'm at, I make sure that I bring that up
She
because
does.
it needs to happen. We cannot sustain, the town can't sustain managing all these pathways on our own. I think we're very strong in manufacturing and welding. We're very strong in business. We're very strong in culinary. We're very strong in CNA. Almost every school district has a medical pathway. That seems to be one of the priority areas for workforce. And then some of our others, but maybe we don't offer fire science, maybe another district offers that. And we're so close geographically, there's no reason that that can't happen. I think that what has to happen is the mindset of folks. It happens I hate to say it, in the state I live in. If you want to take a pathway that's in another district, you can do that if your district doesn't have it. And so we need to start thinking that way on how we can offer those learning opportunities for kids.
Perfect sense.
So every meeting I'll be at, I will be pounding that drum. And then, of course, more financing for those districts that are sharing those resources. Give us an incentive, and we'll be able to manage hanging on to some of these pathways. But we've got to survey our students again, find out which pathways are viable right now, and if there are some that they are just not interested in, then we need to drop them and shift around. But this is going to be the year that I think with the state and the governor being behind this whole career pathway movement, I think we're going to see by the end of the year opportunities for Thompson to either specialize or at least accept students from some other districts.
I'm still, I'm 100%, 1,000% on board with the pathways. I have been since the beginning. I just wish we were reaching these 8th graders. I mean, go from 67 down to 40. It's heartbreaking because, if you're going to go to, I'm also a supporter of Ellis because my daughter went to Ellis and she did well there. But if you're going to go to Ellis we've got the welding, we've got culinary. Ellis has culinary. It's, I don't know. It'd be nice.
Ellis doesn't have welding, so
right.
that's
So,
one thing.
but it'd be nice to stay closer to home as opposed to commuting down. I was wondering, we drove our daughter down, you know.
I would love to eliminate those buses.
Yeah.
that, you know,
So
we have two on the
that's
road.
what's heartbreaking. Go to 67 down to 40.
It's
Yeah.
always around 26 students every year.
Mm.
And last year, we were lucky, and we hung on to more students, but it seems a 10-year trend, right? That number always sticks in my head.
Yeah.
And it's not that we haven't really turned ourselves inside out to offer kids a
No.
snapshot of what life is like at Turtle Up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Personally, look at that NEASC report.
Mhm.
I mean, you couldn't ask for a better review of a school. So it is a diamond in the area, and I just wish more families realize the opportunities that are out there.
I wonder if it's the students or the parents making that move, causing that move.
Yeah.
That, you know,
If it's a
you know,
perception,
sorry.
if there's a perception that the school isn't good,
Perception.
then I think it's
Right.
the parents. Where if the students
Yep.
Exposed.
get exposure to Turtle Lot and they say, hey, I want to go up the hill and do culinary, or I want to go up the hill and do welding, and the parents say, Turtle Lot's garbage, blah blah blah, because that's what they hear in the back of their little heads, and so it's yes, I want.
Correct.
It'd be great if the students could advocate for themselves at home. And there's no evidence to support any of that, but you know, if that's
Our
what's going on.
SAT scores came up, our PSAT scores came up, our AP scores came up. Kim is gathering that information for me today. I asked her for it so that I could send it along to you, but we're above the state median. It's improving student outcomes. So, and we had students that all graduated with a plan, which we've never had before.
Mhm.
Kathleen?
Yes, is this our last year as an opportunity?
Please?
Is this a?
Yes.
Then that is going to be something that takes the
I
office
hope.
offices too.
Other than the financial part.
Other than the financial, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll always be an alliance district because of the region we're in.
That's not such an onus.
No.
But the opportunity thing.
It's-
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm hoping that goes away this year.
Technically,
Last year.
if they have looked at our accountability index over the last 4 years, I think based on that spreadsheet I sent you, we would not have been an opportunity district for the last 4 years. We went from the 10th from the bottom of the state when we received that,
Yes.
that we're 4th from the top of alliance districts.
Mhm.
That's a massive jump to go from, and in all honesty, if you break it down by the districts, it's the high school that is changing our accountability index score. It's not the elementary, it's not the middle school. The high school is driving our change.
Mm.
Right.
So, once we get rid of that label, I think we'll
Yeah,
get more respect.
I really would love to see that go away. It's not going to change the accountability that we have
Right.
for being an alliance district, nor will it take away any of the supports, because the Department of Ed has been extremely generous to Thompson Public Schools. Give us a lot of support, a lot of their time. Anytime we pick up the phone, they know that we'll follow through on their suggestions. I mean, we just had an end of the year meeting last month that was a really good report. We were feeling a little blue when we were going in. We've seen some preliminary test scores that aren't matching up to the trend that we thought we were going in, and they were, you know what, that is a blip in the screen, and you keep doing what you're doing and don't lose focus. And there's been so much professional development this summer. You couldn't ask any more from our teachers who have been working all summer with Patty and Lindsay, taking courses, and oh my goodness, my head is spinning. They've taken so much professional development this summer.
Wow.
Danielle?
So 2 things. Once we lose opportunity, does that mean we can pull in kids from other districts?
We can always do that.
Okay. And then second was it this past school year that we really started bringing kids from middle school up to high
No.
school, or was that the year before? Because it's more relatively new, right?
No, we've been bringing students up there, but there was a mission to get them in individual
Earlier?
pathways.
Okay.
So, I mean, we've been for several years having them take high school courses in 8th grade up at the high school, because it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a scheduling thing. But we've had students actually do a lesson in culinary, students actually making something in shop. And trying to schedule that and bring, you know, a
Yep.
whole grade level up. Julie, and Kim Granado, along with the team at the high school, Cindy Willett and that team, they make sure that they're up there a couple of times a year. And they invite parents in, and they have open house, and they've done quite a bit.
But it wasn't always, like, I don't remember when my child was in 5th grade or 6th grade. I feel like I remember it being 7th and 8th, but I think, are we now pushing like 6th, like, are we getting?
We're grabbing 7th grade, there's been a lot of emphasis. We always invite anyone from the middle school,
Yeah.
but our focus now is on, we put a lot of time and effort on the current 8th graders going in, the rising 8th graders, last year, because they were 7th graders, so there's been a lot of effort on them. Again, we'll go back and really put a lot of
Did we
support.
get feedback from them?
The
Like the
students?
kids? Yeah, did we
they-
ask?
They love it, it's
Okay.
just at the end of the day, I was surprised that many students chose an alternate high school.
So is it starting earlier maybe? Like, is it starting? with
We are starting
6th
earlier.
graders?
Oh, you mean the 6th grade?
Yeah.
They've been working on it.
Like,
Yep.
almost like to keep them.
There needs to be more cohesion in the career pathways so that we do some starting pathway work at the middle school. We're starting that with the C-Perch, and that's pre-welding and pre-manufacturing. So we've got to do more around career pathway work and opportunities for middle school kids.
Because could that keep them, right? Getting them earlier and going home and saying, oh, I loved this, and, you know, I did that, and I, you know, or is it, like Matt said, and it's parent
Perceptions,
choice?
yeah.
We don't know.
All right, everybody good?
Good.
Mr. Staglitz?
How are we gonna pay for this? No. Sorry about that.
Hey guys, good to see
How
you.
are you?
Hi.
So a little bit of good news.
Okay.
As you know, with year end, we're moving through all the grants related work and finalizing numbers, closing down POs.
Okay.
Obviously, a revised budget hasn't changed. Year-to-date spending right now is at 98% of the budget. When we finalized the year last year, you remember we were slightly over budget at 100.3%. So that's good news. I want to caution everyone, nothing is final yet, but it was a slightly encouraging number. Year-to-date encumbrages at the moment are $382,000. That is primarily the remaining 26 paid teachers that pay out over the summer. That are still FY26 expenses. And the remaining, it's probably 2/3, 1/3. A third of that is remaining open POs for bills that we're still expecting. Because keep in mind, this is as of 6/30 and it's only the first week of August. So we still get some bills for June, even at this point. No severe surprises there, which is good, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that doesn't change. So right now, we're projecting to come in at $21.7 million, 99.8% of the budget. The two departments over budget have not changed. However, the update there is the pupil service deficit has dropped to an estimate of $170,000. Now, that sounds incredibly positive over what we've seen throughout the year, but we have to remember, too, that incorporates $60,000 of seed money and another $45,000 of excess cost money. So you add those back in, and we're knocking on $300,000, which is not far from what we were reporting throughout the year. So really, so that extra money from the state had a direct impact on our special ed, which is what you guys have all been saying all along. So that was good to see, and ESY hasn't changed. I have a few things I'd like to update you on beyond the finances. Now that we have set a mill rate in town, what that allows us to do, which is a little bit different from what we did last year, we can proceed using the FY26 budget line item. So what's been done in Munis is I've uploaded the 2026 individual budget line items. And what that allows us to do is to get the school year rolling. It was about, Melinda, 2 or 3 weeks later than we would normally do.
Yes.
We asked the secretaries in each of the offices to hold off on ordering school supplies and the like. I'll tell you, once we flipped that switch on, they were ready to go. They had teed up all of their work and they jumped on it right away. So it looks like, the supplies will be in place, because it's not only ordering the supplies, they have to get them in, they have to receive them, and they also organize everything in such a manner that when the teachers come in, it's not complete chaos, and the teachers can get at their supplies and get rolling. A little bit of info on the Turtle Lot Trust. The long-awaited transfer of the Bank of America account to Weiss Hale Zahansky is a little over halfway complete. We actually got the investment money, the stocks and bonds, if you will, portion of the portfolio transferred. And the other piece, which was I'm getting that backwards. I think the cash is already transferred. We're waiting for the investments. So either way, we've gotten 80 of the about 150,000 over. This sounds ridiculous, but this is something that has been a priority of the trust forever, and Bank of America is a
Nightmare.
worthy adversary when you're trying to get your own money out of them. But the trust has been working on it for years, and we're this close. So that'll be great to have all the money in one spot under one comprehensive management. And then, joy of all joys, the auditors were in last week for what we call their interim visit. New member of the team this year at the staff level, who actually did an excellent job. She spent a day up at the school doing a handful of the interim tests. Normally, they spend most of their time down at the town hall. But interim went very well. We were, I think, 2 weeks earlier in the process than we were. We try to nudge it up every year. They will be back in November for their year-end testing. So far, so good.
It's not, I guess it's none of our business, the Turtle Lot Trust, but since you brought up, it's only got a balance of $150,000?
No. So historically, there have been 2 accounts, one of about $1.3 million, if I remember right,
Yeah.
which is now managed by Weiss Hale Zahansky out of Pomfret.
Right.
That we had moved those funds to Weiss Hale Zahansky 3 or 4 years ago. Is that right, Kathleen?
$1.3 million is up.
Yeah,
That's low, isn't
No, I think that's about right.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're probably thinking of the total because I always add the 2 together to get to the total.
Oh,
So there was a separate account at Bank of America, which was, interestingly enough, here goes Bill, the history buff. Mr. Turtle Lot held a building in Minneapolis. And when that building was sold, that's where those funds landed. And it's been over there forever, and we've been trying to get it under kind of one common management for quite a while. So when you add it all together, it's around $1.4 million or $1.5 million. And we've had some very good market performance recently. We're keeping our fingers crossed that sticks, because we have some roof work that
But
needs
the
to be done.
bottom number, the total on the Turtle Lot Trust budget is over $1 million, correct?
The
I
Turtle
don't
Lot
have
Trust
the number
budget.
with me, I'm just thinking
thought
it's
it
more
was
like 2 something.
Well, did I say 1.3?
Yeah.
Sorry, 2.3.
Yeah, I'm
2.3.
saying it's like
Sorry,
2
Kathleen.
million
I had 1.3.
something.
The budget that we had last year to transfer was $100,000. That's a bit of a placeholder, because the way, it's really up to the trust to determine what comes into the town, because the Turtle Lot Trust has its own separate fund within the town accounts. So when we withdraw money out of the trust account, it goes on to a separate account. It's not in the general fund at the town. So it comes in and it goes out of the general fund at the town. So it really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what we budget, because the trustees can also, if we had budgeted $100,000 to come in and out, they could always say, well, we need 300, and just as long as they approve it, we could do so.
Yeah, and, just so the board knows, the roof, we approved the architect, the building committee approved the architect for the roof. The roof needs to be repaired, and an RFP needs to go out for the roof repair. It's leaking. We flooded out special ed office about a week ago with those rains, so Jason could probably tell you more about that, but, you know, time will be of the essence to get that roof, you know, possibly next spring, I'm assuming, repaired.
Oh, one other fact from the auditor's visit, you guys may recall that we had one pretty minor management letter comment around student activity funds last year. That testing was completed as part of the interim, which is new, because normally that's done at year end. Coming from an old time auditor, it's always great if you can slide the testing out of year end, which is your crazy busy time, into your interim, where you've just got a lot more flexibility. So they actually made all their selections and did all their testing, and that came back clean, which is always
Nice.
good to see. And that comment had to do with better documentation of approval by principals and the like.
Yeah.
Great.
But that was clean.
3 quick things. Having got to go to the CAVE meeting the other day, thank you for what you do.
Oh.
I understand that it was funny, one of the SOBs, or the OBSs, as some of the folks call them, very few do both, town and school. Many are, and some would say, I can't do the town, you know. And the third thing I thought was amazing, and maybe our town needs to understand this as well, I think it was 40% of the districts in Connecticut have 1,000 students or less. So those folks out there for screaming that we only have 700 students, theirs was a 202 total districts. So almost 100 of them are in the same boat as we are. And I can assure you, everybody I saw at those tables, which were board members and superintendents, were all screaming the same topic.
Yeah.
We will not survive if the state doesn't figure out how to get the money back for everything, the unfunded, and words coming out of their mouth, unfunded mandates and the rest. And I learned a lot this year. Thanks for everything you did. I mean, 300 lines or whatever it is in this budget. It's crazy. But it sounds like, and I said to Melinda, I am appreciative of both what you and she have been able to do, and thanks to Jess, because I've learned a lot from you all. To see, I learned a lot of the lingo that the state folks who are paying attention are actually listening to. In transportation, all the types of things you bring up, that's a killer. And the types of things like, I don't know if the board, the governor's board picked up and wanted to take back, but things like if the state would pick up all health insurance across the state for teachers type of thing, get one commonality, transportation, some kind of busing thing across there. It would be incredible if they could administrate that versus shoving it all down to the locals, and then it's very hard for us to pick it up. And we weren't the only folks. I listened to one young lady who said, we don't have the housing stock to pay for all of this, because there's no way you're going to price everybody out.
Sure.
And there'll be a lot of people trying to sell their homes, of which, I don't know if you noticed, I saw a lot of houses up for sale in the last couple of weeks. And I'm not sure, I'd love to stop and ask them why they're moving, or if they're having younger families come in.
Interesting
That's
note
an
on that.
interesting thought.
I've spent half the week down at the town, and I talked to the tax collector and the assessor pretty much every week. And what's interesting is there are a fair number of homes for sale in town, and what's also interesting is they sell very quickly, and the prices that they're going for are unbelievable. So it makes you think that it's amazing to think we just went through a reval and some folks saw a pretty significant increase. And what's interesting is that the homes that come up are selling well above those reval numbers. So the market continues to go. I mean, I kind of shake my head too when I see some of the numbers, but yeah, there are a fair number of houses coming up, but they seem to go almost as quickly as they hit. So I guess it's a good time to be a realtor. To talk to Rachel and see how she's doing.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's it for you,
Thank you,
Bill.
Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, facilities.
So I would like to introduce our new facilities director, Jason Gurm. Jason, you'll come up to the microphone so the folks at home.
Sure.
And so, you know, not to put him on the major spot, for you know, I wanted to introduce Jason to you. He can give you a little, you know, profile of his background. but we're very fortunate to have him here. He's been working with Bill. Bill's on vacation this week, so Jason's it. Yeah.
So nice to meet you all.
You're
My name's
welcome.
Jason Garum. I am local. I grew up in Pomfret. I still live in Pomfret. I originally worked here at Thompson Public Schools when I was getting out of school, finishing my teaching degree. I guess you would say mid to late 90s. It seems like forever ago all of a sudden. So I worked here actually quite a bit. I coached. I did some coaching for a few years in different sports. I worked with Deb as an interim phys ed teacher for a year, and Tom Caffell. So I'm somewhat familiar with the school district, even though it's been quite some time. Come from a construction background with my family, and I went back into construction and never really got into teaching, and then found myself back in schools around 2008 when a facilities position opened up at Woodstock Academy. I spent a decade there in the same position, and then made some moves. I was over at Stafford Springs for a little while, and then I jumped over into the prep school area, and I was up at Worcester Academy for the last 5 years. So I was looking to get a little closer to home, and I saw this position pop up, and it worked out. Here I am. My background, my family background is I have 3 kids. 2 are in college. One's going to be a senior at Northeastern. One's going to be a sophomore at UConn, and then I have a son over at Pomfret Prep. He's a hockey player, so he's over at Pomfret. He's a junior. So married, we live in Pomfret with the 3. It's starting to get a little quieter. It's busy right now in the summer, of course, and that's about it. So thanks for having me.
Jason, could you, there's going to be a discussion around the oil pumps. Could you just give a little update? I did let the board know. They've been aware of these oil pumps, but just kind of because they're going to have to make some decisions tonight.
Yeah, so in regards to the oil pumps, I obviously, if Bill was here, he'd have a little more in depth on it, because I'm kind of just picking up what I've heard from him. But it sounds like, as some of you may know, or I know Melinda knows, that they've been kind of band-aiding it, going along, trying to troubleshoot it. And a lot of times we can troubleshoot, and sooner or later you kind of figure it out. But I think it's been going on long enough where the pumps are failing and they keep shutting down, and all the troubleshooting has kind of gone by the wayside. And even some of the contractors that have come in and have trouble figuring it out. So there's a system that runs the 2 pumps. There's a lead and a lag pump. And there's some mechanicals that run it with relays, and they've kind of run through everything, but it seems as though the system as a whole is failing. So the problem with those pumps is they run multiple boilers in this wing, in this area, in the middle school area, and if those fail, we won't have heat. So it's become very important.
You may or may not know the answer. How old are they? I know Bill would know, but how old are they?
I actually don't know how old they are. I feel like he said they were newer when
This
he
is
first
fact,
came,
Bill,
so I'm going to say that's what, 15 to 20 years?
No, 22.
22, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so he's 25 years old probably.
Yeah.
At least, yeah, okay.
yeah, they definitely. I've looked at them with them and have seen the system. It's definitely, beyond. There's not a system. It's one of those systems where the timelines are always now if you can get parts or not. So this is one where we'd be searching for parts versus.
Yeah,
hauling.
apparently there are
In
no
LA.
pots, and so we did contact some vendors to give us better quotes, other quotes, and no one was even willing to come out. Air Temp is here on site doing HVAC anyway.
Yep.
Right.
So Bill got a quote from them. They need to order the pots, and so when we get to that point on the agenda, the seriousness of it is there's a 6-week lag, and then you're gonna roll right into heating season.
Yeah, most of the parts, the time they'll get in plus install will be probably right around that October time when we
Time to
start
turn 'em
thinking
on.
about it.
Yep.
So which is, I'm glad we figured it, like we decided now that we haven't been able to fix it, because if it was another month or 2, then we might be in trouble. So,
Yep.
to look on the brighter side, but I think he's pretty much ruled out that we have no choice. Some other quick updates. I have Bill's notes. The new HVAC balancing is going well. They've been here the last 4 weeks I've been here. They've been here every day, and some of the units that weren't running when I started are running. So they're getting closer and closer to completing that. And they did start the project that we added over here in the offices over here, and that's going well. So those are kind of the updates. I know everybody, the main thing that's been going on. We have a couple small little things that have come up, but those are smaller items, operational items. So.
And as far as custodial cleaning and getting the schools ready, they're a bit ahead this year. And rec ended last Friday, so we'll probably, I don't think we're gonna have the impact with overtime because we were able to pace it out better.
Yeah, they're close. I mean, they're on the last leg, so they're finishing up the last. What always comes last, these hallways up front, that, the camps area, they're finishing the camp areas because everything else is done. And then all our code and compliance as far as inspections and stuff are done as well, so.
Kathleen?
Yeah, as far as the damage to the tubular services caused by the roof leak, do we need to call a special meeting for the trustees?
I'll wait till Bill weighs in on that. I think they took care of whatever was
Yeah,
happening.
actually, that ended up not being the roof. We actually,
Oh.
well, it could have been because the roof's starting to need help. But really, I think what happened was we ended up finding it's pretty neat actually, as the whole building is. And for me, it's neat. But there's some a lot of the drainage piping from the gutters actually run in the walls.
Yeah.
They don't run
Yeah.
outside the walls.
Yeah.
And they have holes, they have sections, cleanouts in the walls inside the building. There's 6 cleanouts. And we ended up finding that it was actually the cleanout in one of the old upstairs classrooms on the 3rd floor. Must have had an ice dam over the winter, which this is abnormally cold winter. Because when we opened up the wall where that one hole was, the cover was actually totally like pushed out and it was, bent. Only ice could do that, unless somebody intentionally went in there with like, some flames or something to heat it to.
Right. That's
So we actually got that spot fixed. So now we know to keep an eye on it every winter, and when we have that considerable freezing all the time for weeks at a time. So that was a part of it. However, part of that could be also because it's not draining properly up on the roof, because the roof is starting to need to be replaced. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, well.
And cafeteria is gonna be all good to go
It's
and
already
ready,
installed.
we're all
Yeah.
perfect.
All our new stuff.
All the new stuff, no more problems, no unexpecteds, we're good, we're
I've been
golden.
told that we're good to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Because clearly by the survey, food and lunch is a high priority of all.
Yeah, if we start school, I guess I'll find out right away if I was wrong or not. But.
Lunch
Deb's
and
been in all
recess.
summer.
Yeah.
She's been on
The
that.
summer
yeah.
meals and all the things.
Oh, yeah.
I know when I was walking through them probably my first or second week, we're going on a month now, they were finishing up most
Yeah.
of the stuff.
Exactly.
So,
I took pictures of it, but then I kind of hesitated to put it out there, and I was kind of waiting till the start of school. But when it was finished, Bill had the floors clean, so I could take a picture. So I have it, but I haven't done anything with it.
and one of the technicians came and tested everything, so it's all running properly.
Good. So
That's
we're not
sound.
worried about any of that.
And since we're on this, I don't want to be
Yep.
off topic, but since we're on the topic of that, did we purchase all that stuff new, or did we get some of that used? Do you remember?
So what happened was, and I will say this, we tried to save money by using a vendor that was recommended by a board member,
Yeah.
which was fine. However, the used unit we got was in disrepair. Deb tried and Bill tried to get the thing operational. It's the steamer. So we paid like $8,500 for the steamer. And, the original quote was like $32,000 for the steamer. So anyway, it wasn't working. And so Deb, I said, get it out of here. So before we run out of warranty, right? So it was returned back to the vendor. We went with our original vendor. Deb twisted that guy's arm and got a little bit more off, and then we bought a brand-new steamer,
Okay.
and that's in play.
Thank you.
So the serving line and the steamer are all new. And we used our non-lapsing account and some, I don't know, we used,
Things.
I think the primary driver for that was non-lapsing, and then we used drip for the air conditioning here at the middle school, because that had failed. So we've kind of used every little bit of money that we have, and when we get to that agenda item about the oil pumps, we'll talk to you about the rest of the non-lapsing money.
Love it.
Great.
All right, nice to meet you all.
Thank you, nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
you. Best of luck.
New business. A, student handbook discussion.
No, this is this.
So,
Couple things.
Mhm.
When we met, Matt's obviously the chair of the policy, so
Yep.
they gave me some homework. And so I did some homework, but Matt, I did deep dig into the AI and the recording and all those policies, so I have, somewhere here, I have updated CADE policies, but we're gonna
Yes.
have a policy subcommittee meeting. So I know AI seemed to be a concern of everyone, and I found this statement that I thought we could slip into the handbook until you develop your policies.
yep. Yeah, it's a legalistic,
Mhm.
cover your butt kind of thing.
Yep.
That's a good
Band-Aid for now.
Band-Aid for now. And, yeah, we had a pretty robust, actually, discussion with, so all the three principals and the vice principal of the high school.
Becky, yeah.
yeah,
The middle school.
sorry. So we went around and we wanted to clean it up. We wanted to standardize the three. Obviously, they're not going to all be the same because they are three different schools with three different age groups. But we wanted to get them all kind of lined up so it looks like they're from the same district. Whether that's fonts so that won't happen
Order.
this year. That won't happen this year, but that's something for them to think of next year. But it was mostly about them presenting them to us. But for the most part, they're good to go. So we need to have another committee meeting, and so we'll present it. But basically, give them the go-ahead to.
The high school is still adamant that they send home a hard copy. They are working on a common sign-off sheet, and I did ask the attorney some questions. I think I forwarded it to Jess and Matt.
Yep.
And the statement that he put in there where parents refute, like, will sign the handbook but say,
I won't do this.
I disagree with it, to put that statement in there. So I sent that to Becky, and I'm just waiting for that document to come back.
Okay.
Okay. That looks
And how does that affect the start of the school year with the handbooks, though?
I think if you approve them this evening, I know that TJ's gonna definitely have the high school ones printed.
Yep.
And the other two, you put them online, and then they just send that sign-out sheet, getting parents to sign off on it. But they came up with a common date that they all have to be in by, and a common form.
Right.
Were there changes made? I didn't receive anything on the handbooks in my email, so I haven't seen any language change.
Danielle
or
didn't
anything.
send you out the red-lined handbooks?
No, we haven't done
No,
that.
we
I'm
haven't.
not
So,
Oh, gee.
going to vote.
Well, the subcommittee did look at them. I would hate to,
just the
I don't know
from
what you wanna
policy.
do. I thought Danielle sent those to you.
She didn't send them to everybody.
She only sent it to the committee?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think the biggest thing was, it was an update with the new dress code. policy,
Which
right?
we all
was in
approved
there.
anyway.
Yeah, that was in there. And
Yeah,
then-
I don't think there was a couple, there were minor changes, and
Yeah,
that we
based on the
had asked about
transcript I
this.
read,
So,
didn't look like there was an awful lot.
no, but it was, yeah. So, as the chair of the committee, we had, like I said, we had a pretty robust discussion, and the administrators were on board with what we suggested, and to keep things in the interest of moving without it's not being a secret, but maybe I asked that, we approve it based on those minor edits and including this statement in the sign sheet. Going forward,
This
so
is the biggest
they-
thing in there besides the
Correct.
dress code,
Correct,
right?
and the dress code we did approve,
Yeah.
so,
Right.
I'll ask that.
I'll have Danielle send it out tomorrow.
Right.
I have them right here, but there
No,
was
yeah.
just minor.
Hold on, guys, go through these right now.
Yeah.
It was minor stuff like staff that's not there anymore. They had to update the language on cyberbullying. It was very little red line.
Yes, it was.
Very little, in all of them.
So the
actually.
interest in getting it prepared for school, I would like to ask that we approve it and get
I
it
have no problem
going.
going ahead. This and the dress code, some minor changes.
Is that a motion,
Pretty much.
Kathleen?
Yes, it's a motion to approve it with the minor changes and this addition and the dress code that we've already approved.
Okay.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? I mean, I've seen it, so I know what's in there and.
There's
Matt's
nothing,
seen it.
yeah, there were definitely no controversial changes, and
No,
we're not hiding
it's
anything.
pretty much
It's,
boilerplate.
So,
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Abstain? All right, they
And
will
then
pass.
And we'll just get a copy.
Yep.
I'll send that to everyone before we send it to print, in
Mhm.
case somebody has some feedback.
Mhm.
That way we can we could hold a quick meeting
Yeah.
and adjust it if people have a major concern with something that's been changed. I think that's a way to fix it.
Okay.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll let it go.
Okay.
But we'll send that out tomorrow.
Thank you.
I honestly thought it was, you got a copy.
a lot going on.
When I saw it, I saw like +6 people, I assumed, but it was like both of our emails.
It was probably one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vacation impacted that.
Ugh,
Yeah.
All right, letter B, non-union salary increases.
Okay.
Non-union salary increases, yes, we put that on there. We usually do that in August. Everyone else got their rate increase at the start of school. These are all those people that are not have a contract. They are at-will employees, the tech department, a bunch of other folks, security, those folks. Shannon Grauer, Director of Nurses, she's under that category. Our physical therapists that we contract with. So every year, it's always on the agenda in August. I don't know what the board's position is on that. In the past, we have actually kicked it to other months for approval because of the financial situation in the town. I don't know what you want to do with that.
I'm gonna,
Okay.
can I say?
You can say.
Okay, the budget's set for 3%. We gave the secretaries are getting 3%. I would say give them 3%.
Is that what's in the budget proposal?
Mr. Steglitz.
Yes,
Mr.
we
Steglitz.
need that.
If I might, just so both sides are talking
Yeah.
to each other. The town is in a similar position. There's a similar bucket of folks at the town, which I happen to be in myself. The non-union folks, you can agree on, the board can do whatever it wants, obviously, but at least how it's been historically handled at the town is the non-union raises are held off on being paid until the budget passes.
Okay.
So there's a situation where you would receive retro
we could do
check,
that too.
essentially.
Okay.
So, for example, the DPW guys at the town have gotten their raises, but the non-union folks haven't yet, because the DPW guys are contractual, just like we deal with here. So I just wanted the board to know that that's
Okay,
how that concept is handled over there.
that's fair. Okay, we could do that too, because that's fair.
And
But yes, we did budget 3%, Rick, I think
Yeah.
you were just
Yeah.
asked. We
And I
budgeted
think
3%.
last year, didn't the finance subcommittee like put forth a recommendation to the
They
board.
did.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to kick it to that committee.
No, but I don't think I don't see the
I'd like
purpose
to
of
hold.
it.
I'd like to wait till the
I
budget
think I would like to
passes.
hold
Get the
to at least the
budget.
budget passes.
Yes.
Yeah. we
Yep.
can
And
hold
have
it
that
to the-
discussion.
Yeah, we can hold it to the
Oh.
budget.
I mean, they
passes.
deserve increases, not saying.
Right,
They don't.
and I don't like budgeting, balancing a budget on the backs of people.
But
No,
Yeah,
it's in the budget.
it's in our budget.
It's in our budget.
budget, but
Right.
yes, if we get
If
whacked
we get whacked
again.
again,
Well, I don't wanna,
No.
I know,
Nobody
I
wants to
know.
do any of this, Kathleen.
no, well, hey,
I'll send you a list of,
Okay.
in my update, a list of the non-union folks,
please.
or positions, so that you
Positions.
know who
Positions.
those are.
yep,
And it's not unusual
Mm.
that they have waited.
okay.
No,
It's
and we
not
would
unusual.
retro,
they've
right?
done it before.
Yeah,
They
it
get
would
retro.
Well, let's
So-
wait till the budget passes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we can postpone that to September, I would appreciate it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Emergency oil pump.
So.
Can we
Let's hear this.
postpone that too?
So Jason might need to help me with this, but we gave you 2 quotes. One for the oil pump installation itself, and then there's another, I think, $14,000 to tie the pumps into our new system, our control system.
Yep,
One of the, at least from the superintendent, the way I look at it is, I know that money is scarce. However, it makes no sense to me not to tie it into the new system, because that's the point. We spent a bulk of that $13.2 million upgrading the controls
Right.
so that we could run the system smoothly.
Yep.
So, the cost is around, what, 77,000 for both things.
We're not buying a bike without
I sent you in my
pedals.
snapshot what we have left in non-lapsing. We're not certain if any other DRIP money is going to come this year. Like, I have not heard anything in anywhere. I can ask, and find out if there's going to, is that an annual allocation that we get? But the bottom line is that they have to be fixed, right? And then I guess it's up to the board. Do we fix it and tie it in, or just fix it? And then we're gonna have to figure out where to transfer the money to, but there's a couple of things that I need approval for. First of all, to go ahead and repair them, and then secondly, if we're going to use non-lapsing, I have to write a letter to the Board of Finance telling them that we're taking the restricted funds out.
Okay.
Bill and I talked about this together, and we feel like we should just wipe out those accounts and use that money first, and then if we have to go into the BOE budget and figure out where we're getting the other 20 grand or so from, hoping that maybe some DRIP money would be coming and then it would pay for it. But we gotta order the parts. So I don't know, Bill or Jason, you have anything to add to that?
I just, from my standpoint, obviously, it just makes more sense to make sure you do both at once. I think it would also be a bigger number if air temp wasn't already here. So
Right.
they're here, they're gonna have this, they're gonna have it all taken apart. It's the time to put in the controls at the same time, because going back later, getting
Right,
it back
spend more
later, reopening it all up, putting all the controls in, probably would be a little pricier down the road.
Matt?
Yeah, to do it now is the obvious logical choice, and I just mumbled to Kristen, it'd be kind of like buying a bicycle and not putting the pedals on it.
Yep.
It would all work, but it'd be really hard to get it going. So better to spend it now as opposed to double in a year.
So we were short, what, 25?
Yeah. we don't-
25?
Rick?
Just wording clarity. So this is no longer a repair. We've exhausted all that. This is a replacement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just so
Okay,
the
thank you.
terminology's right,
Yeah.
because anybody listening, I don't want you to get this wrong. They've tried everything to fix it.
Yeah, they've been repairing and Band-Aiding
Yeah.
and resetting and finding a way to keep them running. This
And-
is a full replacement of the pumps, the lead and the lag, 2 pumps,
And then tying it into.
and the
the-
control system that runs the pumps, which we would need.
Okay.
But then also the controls to tie it into the ABS system,
Okay.
which means it's on the system that we just put in for all the other HVAC.
And then I just wanted to, you had just said into the BOE budget, but the other question is, can it go to the town's?
The bond.
I
Bond.
asked that question too.
That's what I was hoping Bill stayed.
I think this certainly fits the bill on the type of things I think the bond was intended for. Obviously, at the time when we were developing the priorities for the bond, these pumps were not
Correct.
an emerging
Right.
issue. So I think that's definitely a discussion that could be had. I mean, let's face it, our capital priorities shift constantly.
So it would, I think it'd behoove us to make sure that town is made aware quickly.
Mhm.
I can tell them at the.
You got it. So I don't think there's money to take out of the BOE budget as it currently is strict.
Unless they come back and they say no.
Yes, unless, which
No.
makes no sense. There's 8 million left out of the 12, right, I think, under the bond for future needs.
No,
No.
the
Is
8
it-
million of the 12 is for paving. The remaining
Oh,
4 is,
thank you.
some is for the town, and some is for the school. But let's
Right.
also keep in mind that borrowing isn't happening
Till
Oh,
June.
till-
at the
January.
earliest until January.
Right.
Ouch.
And
that
we
was a
need
budget
more.
change that was made as part of the last round of cuts to move the debt service into fiscal '28.
Mhm.
We're a foot in 3 years at this point.
Yep.
That would be fiscal '28's budget. So that timing doesn't exactly line, because this needs
We
to
need it
happen
now.
before heating season this year.
Yep.
Is-
That was gonna be my thing, isn't
Yeah.
the bond in January, and we need to do
Right.
this tomorrow.
Is
And they're gonna
there,
wanna
is
get-
there anything
Yeah.
that is segmented in what we pay that would suggest you could borrow now and pay back later? No, it's all,
No, if we were to borrow before January, we would shift that service into into fiscal '27.
what about within the BOE
We
line?
have no money in
No.
there,
No.
but we don't have money in the
We don't
budget.
have credit to extend, right?
Well, there's certain projects or spending that doesn't happen until later in the year that we would have to pay the bill up front and then figure out what we're short.
Right.
Okay. Thank
But I did ask Bill that question too. Can this go on the bond?
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely, if it was happening,
But we have to come up
Right
with
now.
money now and then figure out how to back
So
it.
what's in the non-restricted, non-lapsing, and then the balance that's in the,
4,000,
which, like $5,000
Yep.
in the board control. There is a possibility, we might end up in the black at the end of the year, and then that money could go back into non-lapsing or cover the,
Exactly,
The
that money would
difference, yep.
flow into the Board of Ed controlled non-lapsing account. Because
think it's
even in our
25K?
most optimistic
77,
projections, it would be
25K.
under the threshold, so the whole
it's
amount
right around there.
would go
it could be
away,
the 25K bill?
which would then, obviously, we could use for that.
So,
Yeah, he can't project, but we've been kicking that number around.
Right.
That 25 is sort of,
That would be.
Possibly.
It would be wonderful, and like I said in my report, the extra money from the state really, really went a long way this year. But as usual, disclaimer, it's not final.
right.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve both the part and the upgrade repair
Or
as
replace.
presented.
Replacement.
Replacement. Well, repair in terms of tying it in to do it correctly the first time.
Okay. With the caveat that we're asking for the money out of the Board of Finance controlled
Non-lapsing
non-lapsing and our
non-lapsing.
non-lapsing, and then
We'll find the money.
we'll figure out the balance later.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully we end up in the black.
Any discussion? Although, Danielle?
What is the absolute latest we gotta get order and stuff done?
Tomorrow.
Today.
Tomorrow, right? Like
Tomorrow.
literally, okay. Okay,
It's at least a minimum of a 6-week lead time on
So-
anything nowadays.
we have to go to the town and ask about that money though, right?
The Board of Finance.
Board of Finance.
yes.
Yes. Is
We
And
there-
that's not tomorrow.
He can get started.
We don't have an
Yes.
August meeting.
They
I
don't
would
have
say
August
you
meeting.
can
Have
get
they
away,
canceled
you know,
Didn't they
we can get
cancel
in
August?
away with maybe into the second week of October.
Not that I know of.
Orders are 6 weeks out, so you got a couple weeks,
I
but
think,
not much.
I'm worried that if we don't order it like this week, just knowing how the HVAC things got delayed along the way, that if we're pushing it 8 weeks out, that, we're running into really turning the heat on.
So if we
But
ordered it today, we
what-
don't have to pay for it today.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it a certain amount up front, 10, 20% or something?
Whatever.
You can
it's
say-
at.
So, yes.
Yeah, and then bulk of it's probably labor, so I
Well,
mean,
they don't have to send
even
it
if
home.
we had to,
No, that's right.
you know, pay
Yeah,
them
that's
for
That's why
the
they
initial
canceled it.
parts, the pumps and stuff.
Right.
But if it
It's
doesn't
gonna be
pass,
probably 50%.
We were gonna take a couple of days off.
It's the
Okay.
20th if they
Because
have
of the
it.
price of
I don't know, we don't talk.
equipment.
It wouldn't be the full amount.
He doesn't talk to me.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor,
Seconded by Kristen.
seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? That motion passes.
Do you need a second motion to allow Melinda to send the letter, or was it included in your?
That was included in my motion, that was part of.
It was included in Matt's motion.
All right.
That was the intent. We're
Yes.
gonna go with it. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Make it so.
Jason, if tomorrow you could talk to Ear Temp, and I'll send an email back with that quote. But if you see Mike or bump into any of those guys, or, let them know that it's a go-ahead, and I'll send an email that the board has voted to put that replacement in.
So we're good for it.
Right away.
Somehow.
All right.
We were good for it.
All right. Letter D, lunch price increase.
So really, Deb wanted me to bring to your attention that when we had our audit, this happens every year because the state does monitor what we charge for our meals. And they set a threshold, and so the average price around the state is $4.16. If you look below where our current prices are at the elementary and middle, we're significantly below that. She and I had talked about this, about raising it at least 15 cents to bring it up to the window of price per meal that the state gives us. So we can't go below the $3.25, we can't go below the $3.60, we have to bring it up to that.
Okay.
The worry was that we are still significantly below, and you know how that department has been running, it's been running tight, but her concern is that if we raise it too much, then the lunch debt is going to get even more. So she felt comfortable for this coming year with the 15-cent increase.
But the percentage,
Yeah, sorry, Kathleen.
but the percentage is out of whack.
It is out of
The
whack.
elementary is going up 4.8%, and the middle and the high school is going up 4.3%.
That's because the middle school and high school have a higher lunch price to begin with.
Yeah, they always have had a
Yeah,
higher
we've
lunch
always,
price.
middle school and high school's lunches always cost more.
Well, understood,
Yeah.
but they're going up a
Percentage.
less of a percentage.
Yeah.
So you
Will
could
that really
raise their
matter?
rate more
Mm.
to keep the percentage the same, or you could that's the floor, so you can't.
Right.
So you could raise the middle and the high school a little more and keep the percentages the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
she didn't give me that as an option. Is
Right.
she on? Travis, is Deb Neva
Deb,
on?
there's a Deb on. I just don't know if it's our Deb.
I don't know if this
So if you were to go 20 cents,
To 3.80.
No, that's too much. No, you want to keep it round numbers.
Mhm.
3.75.
This was,
So it's not
this was
gonna
her
work.
recommendation,
Yeah,
and
so
the
that's just
recommendation
gonna
of the
have to be,
auditor.
because they'll just live with it.
Matt?
Oh, actually Danielle has had her hand up for a
Danielle.
while.
So based on the pricing,
Mm-hmm.
depends on which food she can buy, correct?
Correct.
And which areas and things. And we saw from the surveys that apparently cafeteria and food services is
Still a
not
question.
a high
Positive.
a positive for our district, right? That seems to be a concern of parents, students. They don't like the cafeteria, but it is to do with the
some of-
costs.
And some of that had to do with the equipment.
Yeah.
We weren't able to offer some meals.
Certain meals, okay.
Certain meals or things to keep cold. The
Mhm.
steamer was belly up for months.
Mhm.
And that thing, what I've learned about a steamer, is that it does a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And we had months that went by, so the menu at the end of the year, when these kids were filling out the survey, wasn't
Was very
great.
limited.
Okay.
So,
But also the, I guess, the quality and options that she can purchase, right? So you
yeah,
could
the more
purchase
money.
chicken. There's this chicken or there's this chicken, right?
Right.
And if we were paying $4.16 for a meal, she could get the better chicken,
Yes, correct.
right? Okay, so
More scratch cooking, that kind of
Right.
stuff.
definitely something. I'm not saying I don't want to approve these prices, but something to consider if we're seeing, right, what everyone's telling us is that meals are an issue. That's something to consider.
And maybe
With
we
the
look at
pricing.
that for next year,
Right.
that we take into consideration the quality of the food and an enhancement of the menu selections.
Right.
But it costs.
Of course it does.
Right.
Of course it does.
I think at that we would
Believe
need
me,
almost
for-
a survey.
For someone who's worked for a good portion of her career in other districts, our menus and our food, I mean, I've eaten it. I would have never eaten the food in my other districts, right? I just wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
And that was, food that was brought in, but there's, and she's doing some interesting things with menu.
Right.
And remember, she's only been here a year.
Right. And I
So-
know there's restrictions, right? You can only eat so many
Oh,
carbs,
yes.
so
Oh,
many
yes.
dairies, so many fruits based on
Correct.
what we're mandated by, right? There's that struggle too. And I'm not sure if maybe parents and students understand, right?
We have partnered.
It could be a learning, like,
So T got a substantial grant for local produce, local procurement from farms. And so Deb has partnered with Teague, so we should see a lot more integration of local farm products into our menu. Maybe not the things that kids would jump up and down about, but definitely more fruits and vegetables that are local, eggs that are local, some meats that are local, and Teague is gonna offset, that grant is gonna offset the cost, so maybe the quality will come up with that program. All I know when I met with her today is that we were below the threshold, we needed to raise the rate. The auditor that came in and went through that whole, that was,
all that.
yeah, cumbersome, recommended, and there's a threshold we can't go below, and
And
there's
this is it.
obviously one we can't go above. And, the average price being $4.16 does, we'll have her back here, and if you decide to set it a little higher for next year, then, maybe having a conversation with Deb, well, what would a quarter bring us, and that kind of thing.
Right.
I can't tell you that, that's
Yeah,
not my
no, I
area of
agree.
expertise.
No, I'm gonna withdraw and say if this, because you're right, it's gonna increase the debt and we've got a high debt going as it is.
Bill, do you remember?
You guys hear me?
Oh, yes, Deb, yay.
I'm sorry, I'm having connectivity issues here at my house. I have horrible service.
Thank you
So
for joining us.
I can't, I don't know how I'm like in and out. I'm sorry. So yes, so I was really afraid to go any higher, than the 15 cents. But we did start to bring in a lot more scratch cooking last year. So like on Thursdays,
No, we lost her.
Oh, Deb,
Man.
we
We got the tacos.
lost you.
we would do something from scratch. And it's of how to spend those funds, which is just getting products from the USDA. Well, really, the last year was all in canned fruits. So I had allocated a lot more chicken and fresh fruits and vegetables from our commodity side so that we can do a little more scratch cooking. And like we did this past year, we would do little samples to see if the students liked it before we actually brought it on. Like we had homemade meatloaf, we had wraps, we had homemade shepherd's pie this past year, which kind of put a kibosh to that the last 6 weeks or so, because we did not have a steamer up in operation. We couldn't even make pasta. Chef was cooking our pasta just so that we had enough grains, to meet the requirements. So, used that a little bit.
It's spicy.
And may I?
Yes,
Would,
ma'am.
would 20 cents really be out of the question instead of 15?
No, it wouldn't. I just, a little on the conservative side. And the difference between the two, I had heard it, but it wouldn't put me in. We do a larger volume of serving quantity-wise in middle school and high school. You're going to get 5 nuggets at the elementary school. You're going to get 7 to 8 nuggets weight-wise at the middle school and high school. So we serve them a higher amount of food, so the price wouldn't be the same anyways.
So we could raise the high school
By another nickel or
to
something.
account for
Yeah.
larger servings.
Yeah.
So if I added 5 cents, like 365 at the high school.
Yes, and I would recommend staying in the 5-cent increments, because if you start going, 23 cents, it's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like, round
pennies,
numbers.
and, yeah, it's not.
No, the bank doesn't even use pennies
No,
anymore.
they don't.
So,
Deb, the question came up that if they increased the meal, the meal charge, how does that enhance the menu? And what is the, I suppose,
I mean, we're not gonna get a lot more for 5 cents. I mean, it's definitely gonna help. We don't have a choice in raising it because we're under that threshold. I'm just afraid to go too high. I could definitely, check around the other areas and see what they're asking for this coming year. Then we can kind of use that as a guide maybe for next year's and go a little bit higher if they're in that area.
okay, but raising like the high school to 365, how much of an impact will that have on the debt?
Our highest debt was the high school with the lowest population.
Okay.
Deb, do you remember what we ended the year with?
Our debt, I think it was about $4,800 that I received the check for.
All 3 schools.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Melissa?
With like subsidize or the free lunch or breakfast program, where does that come from, and how does that amount get figured?
So, Deb, you want to talk about?
Yeah, just one thing too, I want to bring up that, remember, we did not receive full reimbursement for breakfast last year.
No.
So we paid out of the cafeteria's funds. I am working on a year-end report for you, but I was above water about $400. So I didn't spend more than I took in. But we were able to give free breakfast last year, and we did not receive the 40 cents per reduced meal that the parents needed to pay this past year. But this next school year, we will receive those funds. So we'll have more flexibility as far as things that we could serve, like Hutter breakfast meals and.
Yeah, and I know, because you only had X amount of dollars to work with as far as the breakfast menu, but now that we're gonna get reimbursed from the state for breakfast, I think that you'll have a little bit, an opportunity, right, to do more of the
Yes.
hot breakfast.
Yes, absolutely.
Daniela?
What percentage do we have to be to get free lunch? So at one point we had the free lunch.
So that was back during COVID time,
That was
and
our
then
problem.
one year, we had Marriott Fisher had free lunch, but we were covering it with food service funding. They are not offering free lunch this coming year. But during COVID time, we did have some flexibility there. There was grant money around. That all went away. There was one year that the board covered the elementary's lunches. And we tried to do it, we were gonna try to do it at the middle school, and then all that COVID money evaporated and we didn't have anything.
Thought it was based on the poverty.
It is, it's
Yeah, there's a
Like
CEP,
Putnam
it's,
has free.
CEP.
yeah, CEP, the Community Eligibility Provision, and it's
Yeah.
done every April.
Okay.
We qualify to offer.
So we send to the state, all of our students and how many are free, reduced, and full paid. In order for us to break even, we need to be over 60%, and we are not there.
Would you know where we're at, Deb?
I think back in April, we ended at high 30s, like on average for the free. Yeah, we were well below. And the free reduced application did become available today from the state, and I have sent that out to the secretaries and Melinda, and I know she mentioned it in her telephone call today. So hoping we can really, push people to, a lot of the people that owed money probably could have been considered free, but it's just a matter of filling the application out. So maybe being a little more aggressive with that this year.
Gonna pay, at least let the state pay.
When we have open house, do we have food services here at all for open houses and kind of?
Well, I would recommend.
No, but I used to attend for previous schools,
Yeah.
and I would certainly do that if you would like.
I think maybe that's what we need, to get the cafeteria in for some education to parents at open house. Like, filling out these forms is very important, because if we can get to 60%, your kid's getting that free and no one's paying and we all benefit. Also, maybe a little, if your lunch cost $3.75 versus $3.25, this is what I can provide, right? And if those things may matter from the survey, so maybe that's something we do this year, something new, if she's willing, to give a little education on our food services, what we want to do, what we see,
What we're mandated to do.
and the whole, like she said, it's 4 chicken nuggets in elementary, it's 7 to 8 in the upper grades, and you have all these specifics on your proteins, your fruits, your dairies,
Sugars, yes, everything.
yeah, everything. And that's kind of why sometimes lunch is just not so yummy, because it's not sugar packed.
Pizza on Friday.
Okay.
Any other questions for Deb?
Thank you, Deb.
And again, I'm sorry about my connectivity issues tonight.
Yeah,
Happens to everybody.
Appreciate
came
you
in at the
jumping
great
on.
time.
It's been booting me out probably 6 or 8 times already. I'm sorry.
All right, so do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve elementary school at $3.25 and middle and high school at $3.65 for the 26-27 school year.
I will second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
I would still like her to go, Deb, to go out and see what the other
The schools are charging, yep.
Yes, I will include that in a year-end report for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, correspondence in your packet is a thank you card from Rita Rohr for her nomination and induction into the exemplary employees and alumni. Did I label it correctly?
Yeah, I know.
What's that?
It is
Hall of Fame.
a Hall of Fame, thank
Hall
you.
of Fame.
Our Hall of Fame.
All right, all right,
Is more than welcome.
all right. Citizens' comments, we'll start on Zoom. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. I have no additional citizens in the room. Is there any board member comments?
Should make that a actual.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on there and I didn't double check it.
What was missing?
Board member
member comments.
comments.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
That's my fault.
You got it.
yeah.
Okay.
Rick?
Just in advance, do whatever you can as a citizen of town, even if it means going to knock on your neighbors' doors to encourage them to come out and vote. It's a week from Wednesday, like the 19th. Encourage them to vote positively to move this on. If we're unable to, and what I've seen in the town meetings, who's attended, only the no's show up. So we need the other 80% of town who take advantage of what we have as a town to get out and vote favorably to move our budget on. And the one thing I thought of in the past week is if you have a problem with it, you need to get involved. Help us as a Board of Ed and the town members. I see there's an opening out there for somebody in the community to get involved. Find out what the costs are, why things go up. Just don't get out there and say, we're going to vote no because we can't afford it. That's just not good enough. Get involved.
Danielle?
Same, vote
Ditto.
the 19th, ask your questions, look up what mill rate is going to be. It's really not that
Well, they've
high.
already said that.
No,
Yeah.
what your taxes are gonna go up.
Right.
It's really not as high as some people
No,
think
you've
it's gonna
already
be.
got your
so.
taxes in the mail. I got my taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happens if they vote no now. You're going to spend another $10,000
They're
to
not, the
vote
mill rate's
again.
not gonna change, Bill, right? No, it's set. That's
set.
it. So why
It
not?
will be a credit for the following,
Yeah.
Correct.
Right,
Well, hold
but-
on, if
Well-
I know it's late, guys, but
Yep.
that word gets thrown around.
I know.
and people-
Yep.
So the way it works, and believe me, this has been an adventure learning all this. So with the selectmen setting the mill rate, Kathleen's absolutely right. That's the mill rate for the year. What happens if the mill rate that ultimately passes is lower than that? I have to take the difference and I have to put it in. You can think of it almost as like a non-lapsing
Non-lapsing
account
Yep.
that gets applied to the fiscal 28 budget.
Yep.
Right now, the budget that's being voted on is at 19.68, which is what the selectmen set the mill rate at.
Right.
Hopefully it passes and then the accountants don't have to do that little bit of fun.
Song and dance.
But
So
who knows?
really, there is no reason for us to put off giving people raises because that money's flowing in.
It's
It's already been.
water
approved.
under the
Yeah.
bridge right now.
Yep.
Yeah, the money, I got my tax bill, I paid my tax bill.
Well, it'll give me the opportunity to give the new board members a list of the employees that are
Well,
actually
true,
in
I mean,
that
other than that, yes.
But
Educated on that.
what setting the mill rate doesn't do is it doesn't give us a line item budget. That's why I explained the whole, we have to sort of default back to the last line items which were approved, which was 26s.
Yep.
Now, what could get tricky is sometimes there might be something that was in the 27 budget that didn't exist in 26.
Right.
Then, I've chatted with the attorney about that, then the answer is you can't spend that money.
Yep.
Oh,
For
okay.
example, if we hadn't pushed the debt service off, right?
I
If
see.
we had done the borrowing in the fall,
Okay.
I would not be able to make that debt service payment. Let me tell you, I went on that one, because who the heck doesn't want to make a debt service? We would have had to figure something else out. I mean, you just-
Oh, I see.
but it does bring up, concerns
questions.
down the
There's
road.
things.
Health insurance went up 10%. That's,
At some point, we're gonna run out
we're
of
gonna
money.
run out of money in May.
Right. Yep.
And then what do you do? So we gotta get this budget passed.
Okay, I did not realize that.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
it's an interesting, this whole exercise has been
Oh.
something else.
So if we had created a new position and hired that person, they could not have been paid?
Right? Yeah, you're not allowed to spend it. Yeah, it's very,
We
it's
replaced positions.
pretty strict.
Well, like,
Never
yeah,
had
say,
it.
say we had gone ahead and hired a town administrator.
Right, technically, anything that's new in the 27 budget doesn't exist until that 27 budget passes.
Okay,
Voted. Well,
you don't exist.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Adjourned at 8:59.